Fair use, fair use.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Yo, fair use, fair use. But that's going to be the topic of this video. And I took some notes, but ignorance is truly blissful. And you may say, well, why? Why are you saying that? Ignorance is blissful. You know, before I decided to embark on this journey of knowledge and wanting to know myself, I would say that I was pretty ignorant. Like, I didn't know a lot about the world. I haven't really traveled much yet. I haven't traveled. I hadn't went nowhere, seen places. Hell, I haven't even left pretty much my city, my state. You know, I'm from California, Northern California. So, you know, during that period of my life, my ignorance was blissful because at that period of my life, my mindset was women, fun and party, experimenting with certain drugs, Molly, you know, alcohol, and hanging with my guys. You know, my best boy at the time was Roderick. And so, literally, you know, after my father died, my father passed away when I was like, 17 going on 18. After he transitioned, my stepmom's, this is what she gave me. She gave me my father's, his Ford Explorer at the time. He had a Ford Explorer. She took me to the credit union, opened up an account for me, and then put like $1,500 in that account. And I was like 18 years old, right? And so, you know, when I got my father's car, you know, I was like, man, I got a car. So I decided to go put some speakers in there, you know, so I went ahead, you know, and I was working little dead end jobs, you know, working at warehouses, you know, I'm still kind of doing that now, working at, you know, just dead, you know, assembly lines, like dead end stuff, you know what I'm saying? I was enrolled in college, but I wasn't really, my mindset wasn't focused on it, you know what I'm saying? My mindset and my ignorance was women, fun, partying, hanging out with my guy. So I went ahead and I took that Ford Explorer and I put some speakers in there, you know, some loud 15, you know, 12s, because I wanted, you know, when I'm going down the street, I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be seen, you know, so I wanted the music to be blasting, bam, bam, bam. And I'm riding with my boy, you know, and we you know, we got the liquor in the back, and we look, you know, we on the hunt for women, you know, for girls, you know, of our age, you know, we like 18, 19, 20. So, you know, we going to the malls, we going to the shopping mall, you know, the colleges, like, you know, when I'm at the college, we now I'm not going to class, I'm chasing, you know, we looking for girls, so we hanging out. And that was my mindset, you know what I'm saying? I didn't care about nothing. We didn't care about nothing else at that time. Literally every day I would call, reach out to my boy, call Rod, send him a text or whatever. Where you at, man? I'm on the way, get dressed. You know what I'm saying? You got the bottles? Yeah. No, I ain't got the bottles, but we're gonna go get them. And he would, go in there and take the bottles. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the money, and we go look for the girls, and it was truly, as I recall on that time, my ignorance was truly blissful. My ignorance was truly blissful at that time because I didn't care about none of this at that time. It wasn't important what was going on in the world, politics and news and all this stuff. Like, my mind wasn't on that. And so that ignorance was blissful, you know. I didn't care about any other things like going to another country, going to see different places in the world. I didn't care about none of that. My view was literally my own that small surrounding, the city where we was at, and where we was going to hang out at. I didn't care about nothing else, and it was truly blissful. Now, I played this clip that was a clip from The Matrix. I didn't have no knowledge that we were in the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy said, I didn't have no knowledge about none of that. You know what I'm saying? And it, now that I've gained knowledge, now that I've, at the time where when I decided to really start seeking knowledge, it was a period in my life where I was working these dead-end jobs. I don't know why the guy keep hitting his horn. I guess he thinks somebody trying to go over there. But it was a period in my life when I was working these dead-end jobs. I had my then girlfriend, and we had decided to move in together because I was literally sleeping in my car. That Ford Explorer, I had turned it into my home. Long story short, my father's brother kicked me out because his wife, he was a simp and whatever. And so I was living in my car, still working at the warehouses, dead end job, but I was saving I was just literally saving my money. I wouldn't spend it on nothing. I was living very frugal. I discovered the way that I was gonna, go about living in my car. I had my gym membership. That's where I would go, take my showers after I work out. And then I would, I had the laundry mat where I go do my clothes. Literally, I had an ice chest. I got a big Coleman ice chest. I kept all my food in there, and I made sure that, if I had perishables, I put the ice, and whatever. So I was living very frugal and saving and spending very little money, and I was able to save a substantial amount of money during that time. And so when I met my then girlfriend, and she, we started dealing with each other, and she was like, let's get a place, let's move in together. So we moved in together. So long story short, around that time, I'm like, I'm tired of working these dead-end jobs. Like, I don't see this going nowhere. And it was around that time that I started to, seek knowledge. I started to want to know more than what I currently knew. And before my father passed, he encouraged me to read. And one of the books that he gave me, I think like my first books was Machiavelli the Prince. But I didn't read it at the time, like I said. So now, about 4 years later, I picked this book back up, and I'm reading it now. I'm wanting to know, like, man, this stuff is deep. And literally, that period in my life when I was living with my then girlfriend, and I'm like, I want to get serious about my life. So I thought, okay, college was the way. That's, it seems like that's what we're fed. Oh, go to school, get your degree, and get your education, and that'll get you into the higher income brackets. So I got real serious about college. I got real serious about not acquiring knowledge. Like, I was spending hours of my time, my day in the library, not only reading my college books, but I was reading other books. I was reading nonfiction books, history, you know what I'm saying? Like, just going further down the rabbit hole. And it was kind of at that point where I kind of took that metaphorical red pill, and when I started to learn how messed up the world is and how messed up the situation is, and how, you know, uh, the injustices that, my people faced in this country as foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves, freemen. When I started to get deeper in this, I became angry. I became frustrated, you know, and it went further to where I was like, man, this situation almost seems hopeless. Like, it doesn't seem that us protesting, all this stuff is really going to do anything. Like, what's going to change this system is this complete destruction. So when I started going deeper down the rabbit hole and getting all this information, and it was like, damn, man, I started to think about the times when none of that mattered. And those times were blissful because my circumference, my square, was literally that city, my guys hanging out. And now that I have this knowledge, it comes to a point where once you take that red pill, you're gonna have to come to a point where you're gonna have to try to get some balance, because in that scene, if I was given the opportunity, right? Let's say Morpheus came to me and said, now where I'm at in my life, were you gonna take the blue pill and go back to that period of ignorance and blissfulness and just being in the matrix, or do you want to take the red pill? I believe I would still choose the red pill. But when I choose this red pill now I will have the understanding that I'm going to need to have some balance. I'm going to need to have some techniques and methods on how to deal with knowing that we're living in a matrix. We're knowing that this world is a cold world, and knowing that there are some evil people out there in powerful positions, the elite that want to keep the situation the way it is for their power, So I would still take the red pill, focus more on my meditation, my breath work, and try to just have some balance in my life. Because when you're consuming all this information, when you take that red pill, it can be overloading. It could be an overload when you realize the situation that we truly are in. It can be an overload. So that's how I would deal with the situation. Is ignorance truly blissful? It can be. Ignorance can be blissful. But I believe it's dangerous to not know, to not take that red pill and not know the situation that you are in. With that being said, this your brother tapping back in once again. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.